Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest aliens and UFOs video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's conclude the chapter 9 associated with the book UFO Sightings by Alan Baker. This one once again doing with the topic of the harassment of UFO witnesses. So we've had some interesting examples already when it comes to various types of harassments, at least with part 1 and part 2. Some of them involve government institutions, others involve actually the men in black. This one, though, has to do with actual military personnel that are apparently harassing those that are associated with UFO witnesses. This will be the final part of the chapter. It's a rather short one because there's only just a little bit left, but I'm going to present it here and then give my own thoughts and opinions, and then let me know what you guys think too about this very nice chapter overall, showcasing the darker side associated with witnessing a UFO encounter. So this segment is again called Abductions by Military Personnel. So let's go ahead and let's talk about that here. It says, the harassment of UFO witnesses can take many forms, some of which merge seamlessly into one another. What seems like a discrete set of circumstances can contain certain elements common to other reported encounters. Thus, the activity of mysterious, unmarked helicopters is occasionally connected to one of the most disturbing aspects of witness harassment. Dr. Helmut Landmer, a scientist with the Austrian Space Research Institute, has coined the acronym MILAB for the Military Abduction of UFO Witnesses. In an article entitled Preliminary Findings of Project MILAB in the December 1996 issue of the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON UFO Journal, Dr. Landmer raises and then dismisses the speculation that unmarked helicopters are comparable to the black Cadillacs of the Men in Black. Unlike the latter, the helicopters have been frequently photographed and have been seen by people not directly involved with the UFO phenomenon. The clear implication is that while the MIBs could conceivably be an essentially psychic phenomenon, the helicopters and presumably their pilots definitely exist in the concrete rather than psychic sense and have their origin outside the human mind. In other words, they are real, and they show a real interest in those who have had encounters with genuine UFOs. Landmer lists the elements in MILAB encounters, which usually begin with the arrival of the helicopters and sometimes the presence of vans or other vehicles outside of the homes of victims who are exposed to disorienting electromagnetic fields or drugs and then transported in helicopters or vans to an underground facility of some kind. One of the principal differences between the MILABs and alien abductions is that the military kidnappers do not seem to have access to the same level of technology as the aliens. For instance, instead of subduing their victims with the sheer power of their minds, as the aliens are reported to do, the military personnel will grab the victim and inject some substance into him or her with a syringe. Landmer also informs us that MILAB victims report being examined by humans in rectangular, hospital-like rooms rather than the circular rooms commonly reported in alien abductions. The examinations have much in common with those conducted by the aliens, including the often described insertion of implants into the victim's body. According to Landmer, a small transponder biochip has been developed for use in humans by Dr. Daniel Mann in the United States. The chip is similar to an earlier device developed by Destron Fearing for use as an identification tag for animals. Mann's chip was developed to help locate missing children and can be inserted with a syringe, the best place being just behind the ear. Interestingly, this is the Area 16 rifles and began to set up a perimeter on the beach. Such devices could transmit psychological information about an abductee in addition to his or her geographical location. It will be clear to the reader that the journey to an underground facility is another element in common with certain alien abductions, notably the Dorothy and Myrna Hansen cases described earlier. American researcher Dr. Thomas Bullard has described the basic pattern of such journeys to the other world. Landmer summarizes this pattern as follows. Number 1, preparation. The alien beings put the abductee into a protective environment for the trip. Number 2 is travel. Actual transit to the other world occurs. Number 3 is underground. The abductee passes underground. Number 4 is landscape. The abductee sees the surface of the other world. And number 5 is museum. The tour of the other world includes a stop at a museum or a zoo. Although there are definite differences between mid-lab encounters and alien abductions, such as the hard technology of the former compared with the more subtle, mystical quality of the latter, the two scenarios contain interesting similarities. Myrna Hansen recalled seeing human beings working alongside aliens in the underground facility to which she was taken, and this is true of many mid-lab victims. However, in the cases Lemar has studied, while some abductees have conscious flashbacks involving both aliens and human military personnel, during subsequent hypnosis, the aliens seem to disappear from the victim's memory, leaving only the human beings. This could be due to a confusion in the abductee's mind between the initial alien abduction and the later encounters with the military. Lambert puts forward the preliminary theory that mid-labs may be evidence that a secret military intelligence task force has been in operation in North America since the early 80s and is involved in the monitoring and kidnapping of alleged UFO abductees. Their intention seems to be to withdraw any alien implants they find and to also examine human females who have been impregnated and are carrying human/alien hybrid fetuses. Whether this hypothesis is correct remains to be seen, but if military abductions really are taking place, they provide us with perhaps the most promising avenue of research in years, an avenue that might finally lead us to the truth. And then that's it. That's everything associated with Chapter 9, Harassment of UFO Witnesses. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the last segment, abductions by military personnel. As you can see, it's almost like the most scariest of them all. At least when it comes to alien abductions, for the most part, you hear about the aliens having care when it comes to what's happening to the person. Like various times throughout the chapters here, you heard about people experiencing pain, and then the aliens wave their hand, and all of a sudden the pain was gone. And then there's information associated with suppressed time, like in other words, forcing the humans not to remember anything about this traumatic experience for their benefit, stuff along those lines. Here, though, involving abductions by military personnel, it seems very brute force. Like you saw the info there that was listed with the helicopters, with the vans, unmarked vans as well, other vehicles outside of the home, how they just pretty much abduct people and then obviously inject them with something very roughly, it seems, in order to disorient them, in order to have them pass out, and then they're stuck inside some room fully aware of what's happening and then being examined and having other things occur to them by these unmarked, unmanned, unknown personnel. And then whoever they are, they're then injected with something else to keep track of them. And then there's the idea that there's these other equipments, other vehicles that cause people to essentially have this electromagnetic field around them or other drugs transported into them. It's just a horrific way of going about this type of situation, of examining someone, but the clear difference is that there's no care at all, if you could even call it that, associated with the military side, but at least with the alien side, again, the abduction is happening. That's bad, that's wrong, but at least there's some care too there to make sure that the experience goes by as quickly as possible and is never remembered again. Crazy stuff. And then the idea also that there's an actual acronym associated with it, like MILAB as well, and MILAB victims. That's another indication that this could be happening more than what's realized. And even then, it's happening almost in broad daylight. There was that description that these people are being examined in rectangular hospital-like rooms. Makes you wonder if it's like just out there in the open and behind some secret doors that people just assume is just normal business happening, but no, it's something else entirely different, or if it's happening underground. There was that segment associated with that lady, Myrna Hansen, stating that she saw human beings working alongside actual aliens, like in other words, military personnel working with aliens in these underground facilities for those MILAB victims, all of them essentially working in tangent and seeing if there's something else that can be done to those poor victims, basically, and though whatever's happening to them can continue to happen on a continuous basis. Just a bad situation overall. But let me know what you guys think about this overall chapter, Harassment of UFO Witnesses. The next chapter, chapter 10, is going to be an interesting one. It's called Bodies of Evidence. As you can see, it's going to go through various segments showcasing true evidence, like in other words, concrete stuff that has been associated with UFO encounters. Great stuff. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.